Welcome to SF Garnish Music Production. My name is Justin Anchetta, and today I'm going to be going through a couple different things that hopefully can inspire you to jump into music and creativity, whether it be electronic or even on an instrument. At Soul Graffiti Studios, we've been teaching music for almost 2 decades, and the electronic music production school, SF Garnish Music, we've paired with to offer courses year-round in electronic music production. So what I'm going to get into today is Ableton Live. And what I'll do here is just kind of walk you guys through a song that we have. This is Boon Carrier. It has a lot of electronic aspects to it, but also acoustic instruments. There's tabla, there's bass, there's vocals, guitar, nylon string guitar. And what we're going to be working with here is how to line things up to the grid and what happens if you're not to grid. Okay, because this is actually, there's a lot in regard to groove that can adjust the quantization and make some really good feel going on. It's difficult if you're not to the metronome, if you're not to grid. This song was recorded almost a decade ago, and we got off from the metronome. It's a song in 31, and we actually are behind the metronome, and I think we might have even skipped a beat at some point. So what we're doing is manually going in and moving things around. If you are to grid, you can literally quantize and then, put on some different grooves. This is where electronic music production has felt very electronic in the past, but it can actually start feeling very humanized with the groove pool in Ableton Live 10 Suite. I'm going to show you right here just an example of the percussion that we just added in. So we got the bass up here, and we added in this new snare and new cajon part. And as we're going through this, most often you can just press quantize and say quantize to 80%, quantize to 100%, whatever you want. But in this case, we had to actually zoom in to specific areas and then from there find the exact spots that needed adjustments. Because as you guys can see here on the grid, when you zoom in, these main hits aren't on the downbeat. And it's that way for 2 reasons. One reason is that we are not in 4/4, we are in 31. However, if we did play to the click, it should still be on the down. In the future, that's going to be the case. It makes it a lot easier in post-production. So there's a lot of tricks that you can do that just speed up the process of post-production. This is kind of showing you what happens if you don't do the recording exactly to grid. So we are literally nudging these over and then lining up by putting a set marker, and I'm actually going off grid by Command 4 so I can find out exactly where that snare is, and then I'm just kind of scrolling down and I'm just seeing where the cajon is hitting, where the tabla is hitting, and where the bass is hitting. For example, this is a moment where the bass is just a little bit ahead of the beat. So what we would do right here is bring that to be exactly on the beat and make sure that you then adjust that to where it hits. So let's just go ahead and hear a little bit of this so you guys can hear some of what the quantizing manually is doing. We're not doing this to grid. So you can kind of see that there's some complex rhythms going on there, going into a 5 time for a while and then going from 7 to 5 in the 31 time. So this makes it pretty complex for doing editing. And like I said, if we are to grid, the quantize feature is pretty amazing in Ableton Live. Unfortunately, if you do not record exactly to the downbeats, for example, these are the downbeats shown very clearly, and you're seeing that we're coming behind the beat right here. So we're gonna flow with this though, because overall everybody stayed together in this recording. It's actually kind of old school style. It's as if we didn't record with a metronome. And when you don't record with metronome, this is how you would be aligning your bass and drums to really make it that much tighter. So let's just go to another spot here, and I'll do another example of making all the hits align. So I'm going to go off grid, Command 4, and that's the tabla, very beginning hit. And I'm just putting a marker in here so I can really see where that hit is. And then I go up here and I see if there's any other hits. Doesn't look like that's not a downbeat. So I'm going to go to a downbeat actually. I'll just move this marker over to the cajon. And it looks like my top and bottom cajon might do some phasing if it's not fully aligned. So I'm going to make sure that these are fully aligned. Let's see here. Let's starting probably a little bit farther back, probably right about here. And when I zoom in, as you can see, this is a little bit ahead of the beat. We'd go ahead and line that up and go back to our marker. It looks like those are all lined up now. So here's our marker. Looks like our beat was right there on this is our top of our cajon. And cruising down looks like it could be that the tabla is behind the beat. It looks like the bass is a little ahead of the beat. The reason why you only quantize things to like 80% sometimes is you want that humanism in your feel. So you don't always want it exactly perfect. But in some cases, it can help with bringing the music together and making more sense of odd time signature songs, such as what this is. All right, so where are we? Here we are. So that looks like the bass is a little ahead of the beat. I'm just gonna see if I could move just this one. And the tabla is a little behind the beat. And I'll move it from here. This is kind of dangerous territory. Once you start dissecting, this is like going into, if you're a doctor and you're putting the stomach where the heart is and seeing if it pumps. Hopefully it's a little more accurate than that. All right, so that seems to be aligning. We can zoom out and go back to that marker. We were on marker 4. Often hearing it from a lot of playback pre-roll helps out. So marker 4 is what we just changed. I'm hearing something just before right here, so let's find out what that is. All right, I'm hearing that the ride is behind the beat. So you really got to use your ear in these moments. This is really when you got to give some gratitude to all those drummers out there that you don't have to actually quantize them at all or move where they're at just because they're that accurate with their beat. So it looks like, yeah, this could all be moved. There, we found the issue. So from that location, probably to here, we're then going to move that directly onto that beat. That should make it to where everything else aligns, but it might be that some other things still need a little bit of a nudge. Let's go ahead and listen to that. All right, so that's where that flam right here. took place. All right, so that's how I aligned it. I'm going to go to a new version because I actually did this already in a different version. This is version 7. You guys can't see that. I'm going to change to it. Let's make sure that our Ableton is also going to read version 7 here. All right. So it looks like our OBS has not loaded version 7. Oh, yeah, great. So it automatically loaded version 7. That's awesome. So here is the version that I did some editing on already. So you can kind of see that these hits were lined together. We also put a fade on the end just to make that go out nicely. In Ableton Live 10 Suite, there are some great features with the fades, whether you are in your automation mode by pressing A, or if you're out of that, your fades when you're off of automation mode are instantly put into place. And you can put some drastic fades like this. These are often used just for when you're fading between tracks, or you have an easy track that's cut out at one part and you just want it to fade out gently. So let's go ahead and let's look at this really quick. This is the gentle fade out. You have to kind of zoom in quite a bit to really see that. So this track, it looks like there's quite a bit of moving parts here that I really want to make sure that I don't want any phasing happening in my parts. And this happens from, if you record the front and back of a cajon and they're not lined up, you can manually line them up like this, or you can also use some post-production tricks, phase inversions. Because I was manually moving these tracks around, I'm just going to continue doing that method for now. And like I said, if this was done, let's say, to the grid, it would be a much quicker process. We're going to make sure that that is lined up right there as well. Let's see how that sounds. All right. Let's go ahead and listen to that. A little pre-roll. Nice. What I'm going to do here is just briefly change to a new display capture. You guys are going to see this manual. Here we go. All right, so this manual display capture right here will allow you to see a little bit more of my screen. So what we're doing is just looking at the drums, so that's why it's a little bit louder in the mix. But we are going to be mastering this in the near future. The vocals are a little quieter than I want them to be, so that needs to be brought up. When you have groups, you can easily bring up the entire group. So if your vocals are all in one group together, that really helps out. All of your bass, all of your drums. So there's guitar all and vocal all. It looks like it's dropped by 3 dB. I want to show that automation here. So where is that drop? All right, it looks like it goes down by 3 dB in the beginning and then goes up. I'm going to bring that up just a tad bit.
Travel far, not knowing when to stop atop
also noticing that the bass is coming in before the cajon, and it might be a nice feature to bring the bass track in when the cajon track comes in. So let's just go ahead and find out where that cajon comes in. All right. So from that point all the way back, and this is a really easy way just to test it out and not be, you know, if you make a mistake in mixing, the point is to try things out, try some exaggerated moves and see if it works for you. We're just pressing 0 to deactivate the bass in the beginning of the clip. I'm going to press A to get out of that mode. And let's go ahead and opens it up a little bit right here.
Travel far, not knowing when to stop atop new star. Somewhere here you are. It's safe to say the matter is this state. We mold our fate to be what it is. Here, boom, body, boom, body.
Cool, so it drops in right there. I'm going to show you one more thing other than just doing the manual beat correction that I was doing on the drums earlier. I'm going to also show you some manual auto correction. There are some VST plugins that are great for doing this automatically, but I do like the version of just using Ableton in this way. So we're going to listen to this lead vocal and adjust some of the pitches.
You'll travel far, not knowing when to stop atop new star. Somewhere here you are.
Okay, so the end of the phrases are a little flat. So what we're going to do here, a little bit higher is better. So I'm going to just cut this right here. This is the end of the phrase. And what's great is there's a natural fade that happens in Ableton that's pretty good, but you might want to adjust this a little bit yourself. We're going to go into the wave view, and we're going to detune down here on the bottom left. We're just going to detune this and make it, I think, about 18 cents higher. It's the first test.
Where here you are.
And instead of beats, we're going to go down to complex. If you are in the wrong warping mode, it might give some artifacts to your music that you don't want.
Somewhere here you are.
See, that's going too sharp, obviously. Doing the extreme is good just to know it's there.
Somewhere here you are.
All right, so that ending phrase right there looks better. It's actually like a quarter tone off, which is pretty amazing.
New star.
Star. A little bit higher. And then do the exact same manual auto correction on this right here. And bring it up to what I thought the other one was like.
Star.
And it's already in complex, which is great.
Top new star. Somewhere here you are. It's safe. Safe.
This one probably won't need it as much, but let's go ahead and just see a little bit.
Safe. It's safe to.
Yeah, just a little bit on this one. I would probably say 15. So 50 cents is a quarter tone. So if you do 35 cents, that's actually, 50 cents is a chromatic scale up one. So if you do 35, it's almost half, just over half of that chromatic scale up.
It's safe to say.
Oops, not volume. We are going to go here. That sounds better. All right, so this is just a manual way to do auto correction. There's, like I said, there's some great VSTs that can
safe
kind of do
to
this
say.
by just combing through your entire project. I do like to have tracks be as organic as possible, but if it needs some type of autocorrection, it's good to put that into sometime in there. So I'm about to take a call here, so I'm going to sign out for now, but I'll be back to do some live posts starting from 0 in Ableton Live and walking through the push to adding a beat, bass, melody instruments, and rhythm instruments, and going from there. If you like what you see here, please like and subscribe to our pages. Share us on social media. We just opened up a Twitch page called SF Music and our YouTube page, SF Music School. And we look forward to seeing you soon. SF Garnish Music and SF Garnish Music School. So my name is Justin Anchetta, and really great to be here with you guys. Have a blessed day.